All right, here we go. Here we go with the release date. 2024, maybe? Oh, come on, man. Dang it. Yeah, I have to admit I was a little it's probably a little bit embarrassing, but I was kind of bummed cuz I thought maybe we could get it this year. But that's okay. 2025 release, if it needs that time. If I had to guess, the 2025 release date for Death Stranding 2 on the beach would be to be able to take advantage of the PS5 Pro, which is supposed to be coming out later this year. And we'd imagine that Grand Theft Auto 6 is also going to be taking advantage of that hardware. And with Death Stranding 2 being designed around the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, presumably, it makes sense that they would have. It makes sense that they would take a little bit more time to take advantage of that. So that makes sense. I'll be curious to see when in 2025, if it's early or if it's around in November, same as the last game. What I really loved to see was the fact that they did gameplay. They did this for the entire state of play, for the whole live stream where they showed all this stuff. They had gameplay for just about everything that was shown, which was impressive. I don't think there were any announcements that were just empty. I think all of them showed gameplay, including that Silent Hill free-to-play game that's coming out today. How cool is that, right? Just looking at the gameplay, this looks amazing. Like, I thought the first game was big in scale and had a grand scale, but just looking through it now, it looks amazing. It looks like it's going to be so much bigger, and it looks like it's going to be some new environments. I really like that they're going to be a lot of very diverse environments in this game. Some that look familiar to the first, but also some completely new ones. That desert in particular looked very exciting. And so I think there's a lot that I'm looking forward to here, and it's super cool that we saw actual gameplay for this. I also like the mechanic where it shows that the flood takes out your bridge, showing that maybe there will be some more challenges that you have to deal with as far as, out in the nature, out in the world, that you'll have to contend with. So that's really exciting. This is actually really not the way I thought that they were going to go with the game. My initial prediction, based on that first trailer and just based on, ideas that I'd had after playing the first game, was that you would be traversing maybe through the beach, that you would go to that realm of the dead, essentially, and use that as a way to transport your cargo and things like that. And, this game is over a year away, so they might still do that. The title On the Beach kind of suggests that there might be something else going on there. But for now, I'm actually still really impressed by the scale of this world. I wouldn't be surprised if we at some point hear that Death Stranding 2 is like 50 times the size of the original. And it also makes me wonder, because it starts with going to Mexico, so going south from the UCA and trying to link up presumably the whole world, but starting by going south down to Mexico. So that'll be really interesting to see if it's just Mexico and like some general area, or if it'll be like certain parts of certain different countries, maybe in South America. Is this going to set up, another sequel, Death Stranding 3, where they go, to complete the rest of the world? I don't know. But I think that it's definitely a different direction, like I said, than I was expecting. But I think this looks really amazing. It looks like there might be some more action with BTs and things like that. I also really like it looks like they improved the shooting mechanics, where it looks like you just put your cargo down and then just take out your gun and go to town. So that's really exciting. Now, obviously, the shooting wasn't really the appeal of the first game. It was its own gameplay experience. But I like that since they have shooting in it, that they're going to continue to refine that. Now, that also brings me into another thing which I saw, which is that where's Lou? We hear about Lou, and it seems like there's kind of a mystery going on. And it seems like what happened, based on what they say in the trailer, is that Lou has actually either died or disappeared or something like that. That will be really interesting to see where that all goes, because that looks like that might be kind of a mystery and something that's kind of a driving force for the plot, similar to how Amelie was for the first game, kind of a driving force in the form of a character that we're trying to reconnect with in some way. That was one of the things that I was really surprised by, because it looks like we see Lou, but we don't. At this point, apparently she's gone. And that brings me to the kind of the the elongated sequence with what I call Joker Higgs. I was very surprised when he took the mask off, because we saw that shot from the first trailer as well, where he's about to take the mask off, and it looks like it's supposed to be him. And from his voice, you can tell it's him. And then he takes off the mask, and he's in Joker mode. He's gone full Joker makeup with the smile and the white face paint and everything. So I think that's fun. I think that's a funny, it's a funny looking design, but I think it's a fun way to go with this character. We don't really know what all he's up to. I mean, it looks like at some point there are these other guys that look similar to his guards that kind of come up and show up and fight him, and so that'll be interesting to see what's going on there. And that coffin actually matches up with the one that was in the first trailer that the guys are carrying across the desert. So I'll be interested to see where they go with that, and I think that'll be fun. But other than that, yeah, I thought the trailer looked really good. I think there's a lot to digest here and a lot of visuals, and I'm just really excited that, it looks like it's going to be more of Death Stranding, bigger and better than before, and it looks amazing. I'm really excited for it. Having had a PS5 since launch, there are a couple games that I feel like justified my ownership of it, getting it on day one, but when Death Stranding 2 comes out, it'll be no uncertain terms. And that kind of brings me into the last thing, which is that right after the Death Stranding 2 trailer, Kojima and the head of PlayStation Studios announced this kind of new project that they're going to be working on after Death Stranding 2, which is, it's funny that Kojima made sure to clarify that, because he's also working on Overdose. I don't know when that's going to come out. But he essentially describes it as an action espionage game. So, obviously, he has a history there. I'm not worried about that game in the slightest. But what's interesting is that he talked about how it's going to be essentially trying to blur the lines between a video game and a movie. Now, there are obviously a lot of jokes you can make about, especially with first-party Sony games, that they're already basically movies, and so you can only ride that line so far. But I'll be curious to see what this actually manifests as. Is it going to be something, I don't know. From the way he described it, it seemed more like it was a game that essentially has the same resources behind it, or the same production process as an actual feature film. So it's going to have, what did he say? He said it's going to have costumes and sets and actors and things like that. So I don't know exactly how that's going to look, or whether or not it's going to be some sort of other film project that's released in tandem with the game, or rather a game that is, made like a movie and it feels like you're watching a movie in some way. I don't know. I'm excited to see where that goes, but ultimately it's not, he said it's not, they're not even going to start working on it until after Death Stranding 2. And, at that point, we'll see where things go. I'm hoping that the PS5 Pro supports, and it should. I would imagine that it should. But I'm hoping the PS5 Pro supports physical games still, that it supports discs, because that's like 90% of my PS5 and PS4 and PS3 library that I own. And so I hope that they don't take that option away for physical media. Because I want to be able to have Death Stranding 2, I want to own it on a disc physically. And then, after that, I guess you can do whatever you want. After that, I guess we don't need it. But I would at least like to make it through this entire generation, being able to keep physical games. So yeah, I guess we'll see how all that shakes out. But I'm more curious about that other project. But for now, I'm just really excited for Death Stranding 2. But I'm curious as to what your thoughts, predictions, or concerns are for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. And until then, we'll be on the beach.